Hey guys, this is Blitz Hacker from the Mythically Intoxicated, doing a Vexor Navy issue ratting tutorial. First of all, I wanted to go over Vexor Navy issues ratting, or the How Not to Suck When It Sucks Out tutorial, on request because a lot of people have been having a lot of problems making ISK. You can make a lot of ISK doing this. First of all, I'm going to go over the fit. The fit will be posted in the description of this video for your convenience. There are two modifications to the fit. In the high slots, I have a Drone Link Augmentor II. If you don't currently have the skills, a 1 will do in most cases. In the mid slots, there's a Drone Navigation Computer 2, an Omnidirectional Tracking Link Tech 2, scripted for tracking speed, a large meta or compact, pardon me, cap battery, and a 100 MN enduring afterburner. That is a battleship size. This is an overpropped fit. In the lows, you're looking at 3 drone damage amplifier 2s, a reactive armor hardener, a medium armor rep 2, and an EANM tech 2 in the bottom as well. I have tried shield fits before. The armor fit is extremely resilient. The ticks are equal or better to the shield variants of this without with being a lot more stalwart in PvP combat. These are the optimal fittings. I have spent the past 6+ months refining this fit until I've landed on this. In your rig slots, I am running a medium auxiliary nano pump 1, medium capacitor control circuit tech 2, and a medium ancillary current rudder 2. When you're running this fit on whatever tune or tunes you are running this fit on, look at the upper right hand corner here. Ensure that you have cap stability. That is essential for this. If you are not cap stable, you'll end up getting yourself killed unless you're managing the Vexor Navy issue. The idea of a VNi Ratting and the scaling of it is that there's very little management on your part once you have the ship and everything set up properly. The 2 refits for it, if you have a tune that does not have enough skill points, you can change out the medium auxiliary nano pump 1 for capacitor control circuit 1 to get you cap stability. If you still are not cap stable, check your capacitor management supports and the afterburner and fuel conservation skills. Those 2, specifically the afterburner and fuel conservation, are going to be critical for your cap stability using these fits. You will need them at least 4s. If you do have superior fitting skills, you have a tune with a load of SP, your main, whatever it happens to be, you have perfect fitting skills and you have your armor rigging to at least a level 4, you can take this ancillary current rudder tech 2 and drop it down to a tech 1 and still have it fit. It'll take a little bit off of the cost of the build and reduce your losses. These things are relatively cheap. As you can see down here, I'm looking at, not this entirely accurate, about 160 million ISK with the Tech 2, not the Tech 1 cheaper version of it, in here with all my Tech 2 drones and everything out the door. So at the time of this video anyways, they are extremely cheap. I would highly suggest anybody, if they're even just curious, to give the Vexor Navy issue ratting a shot. Extremely good for passive income as well as raising ADMs. As a quick side note, with Vexor Navy issue ratting, there is good tools. For example, being on TeamSpeak with courtmates to let you know what's going on in your area is a wonderful tool. I would highly suggest being on comms. Even if you don't have a mic and you can't speak, I'll suggest being on comms anyways. Other thing is make sure that you're joining the standing fleets, but there is another program out there called Near 2, an extremely helpful tool. It's EULA compliant, and I will not be covering that in this tutorial, but I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm planning on making a tutorial on how to properly install and set that up if anybody has any confusion with it. Regardless, the ticks you're going to be looking at with this are going to be anywhere between about, with optimal skills, about 17 to about 20 million ISK per tick. Your results may vary slightly. This is in Garista space. If you have a newer tune, I would highly suggest skilling up to Wasp 2s as quickly as possible. Wasp 2s will give you better ticks than their Navy variants. The break-even point is about Kildari Drone Specialization 3 because I'm using the kinetic versions of the heavy drones because we're in Garista space and that is the damage hole. So with that being said, first thing I'm going to do is look at fleet here. I am going to find and join my standing fleet. You need to be in the standing fleet, as well as, good job, CCP. You can alternatively also fit an offline Sino in a high slot and put liquid ozone, 300, 350, depending what your Sino skill is. And you may be eligible in your Vexor Navy issues for SRP through Slice. Anyways, I'm now in standing fleet. Also find, if you don't have, you can create one, a ratting channel. Ratting channels at first I found extremely annoying and cumbersome. These things are ridiculously important and easy for organization, especially if you are using multiple tunes to rat. In this case, I'm only going to be showing you with one of the tunes and how I go about doing so. With that fit in the skills, I'll undock from the structure. As I'm undocking, I'm going to press Control Space once I'm finished lagging out with the session change in this lovely back screen you see here. Close this fittings window. Now, in the probe scanner here, I am going to left click on the top result. I'm going to hold down my shift key and left click on the bottom result here. I'm trying to ignore everything but the havens. I want to isolate the havens, specifically the rock havens. So right click, ignore result. I'll go below it, left click here, hold down my shift button, left click on the bottom, right click and ignore result as well. Here, I'm going to look for which ones are the gas havens.
Warp drive
So I'm
active.
going to warp to it, and then I'm going to control space quickly. If I get no pop-up, I'm going to hold down my left control and click on the haven, not the arrow, but the haven itself to highlight it. I'm going to repeat this process,
Warp
going
drive
through
active.
all of the signatures that are listed here, because I want to remove
Warp
the
drive
gas havens or the
active.
ones without the pop-ups on here.
Warp
So bear
drive
with me one
active.
moment while I do this, and you only have to do this as you're setting up in an individual system. And today,
Warp
of
drive
course, I'm going to be
active.
ratting in 3QE because, well, I'm already here.
Warp drive active.
Especially if you're using multiple tunes, this can be almost
Warp drive
equivalent to
active.
carrier ratting. With ticks, you also have a lot less ISK on grid, and you're going to be a lot less
Warp
likely to
drive
be dropped
active.
because of the, well, inherent danger of dropping a VNi. They're very hard to catch,
Warp
and you
drive
have a
active.
decent chance of killing them if they're dropping you with a minimal set of hostiles. So they're really good. The bang for the buck is amazing on Vexor Navy issues, and you can get reasonable ratting ticks. As I said, if you're running 2, you can get, let's for easy numbers say 20 million ISK a tick. That is a little bit on the high end. Again, you also have minus your corporate tax. But you're running 3 of them, you're looking at 60 million ISK a tick. That's every 20 minutes. That is akin to a Nidhogger with so a carrier with faction mods on it for ratting. You can do that with little to no risk. So here are the 4 gas havens. I'm going to right click on there and ignore those. These are the signatures. Now what I'll do is I'll click on the modules I have on the bottom here, which is the omnidirectional tracking, the reactive control, and the armor repper. I can let those run non-stop because you are cap stable. The wasps are for ratting. The infiltrators, more specifically, and the hobgoblins in rare cases are for PvP if you get tackled to give you a chance of getting out. The infiltrators, because of the drone nav and the mid slots in this fit, can track and can catch up to most reasonable frigates. If you're running into like some AT, Corelli A-type fit, Garmers and stuff like that, then you may need to dip into the Hobgobs. But aside from that, the Infiltrators are absolutely amazing. If you do get tackled in a site, of course, call for help on comms, which you should already be. Even if you don't feel like chatting, whatever it happens to be, just be in comms so you can pick up your mic and give a shout for help and not let these guys get easy kills. So right now, this dude right here, this dude right here, this dude right here, they're all goon campers. They're essentially useless at this point, so I'm not actively being hunted. Those nerds are AFK. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find a site. I'm going to warp to it at 30 kilometers.
Warp drive
I'm going to warp
active.
this at 30 kilometers. When I land on grid, it should be a rock haven. There will be, as I'll demonstrate, what you need to do is you need to drop your drones, and your drones need to be set on aggressive and focused fire. You need to drop these drones before the NPCs aggress you. When you first put a Vexor Navy issue out in any system, after you've gotten which ones are the gas havens deleted or ignored, you want to drop your drones before the rats spawn or aggress you if they're already on grid. So I'm going to drop my drones immediately upon landing, my Wasp IIs. Now, if you have I use show all brackets. If you can see, there's like a little cross of circles here. And right in the middle, if you can find that one, is the pirate gate. Right click, orbit 30 kilometers. Turn on this prop mod and watch. That is, you need to watch the first time that you go out every time to ensure that your drones are not getting aggro. There is a drone bug in the game of where they will aggro your drones. If they do that, you must recall your drones, decycle your prop mod, and warp off. Because this is an overpropped fit, you do not want to be trying to align to warp off quickly or warping any amount of distance with your prop mod on. The added weight will usually entirely cap you out depending on your skills in the distance. If you're looking to warp out, make sure you decycle your prop mod and then warp. Anyways, I do not seem to have the drone bug here. If you do, if you scroll down here, you notice them taking shield damage immediately of any amount. Make sure that occasionally they'll pop off, take a shot or two at your wasps, and then they'll aggro back on you. That's fine. That's normal behavior. If they're all yellow boxing you, watch your drones. Either that can be a drone bug or that can be you taking too long to get your drones out. If you find yourself orbiting and you forgot to launch your drones, the second you launch your drones, they will all aggress. You can either pull them, warp off, and come back and try to reset it again. Or you can send them out, find which heavy drone that they're attacking, recall that one drone specifically by like right-clicking on this one drone and go return to drone bay. Do that, wait for them to switch aggro back onto your Vexor Navy issue, relaunch it, and then reassign it to attack, and it will continue the cycle. At this point, once you've got your prop mod on, all your mods on, you do not really need any more input except for the last wave. Near 2, as I said before, is extremely helpful for giving you a heads up and an audible warning of when there is capital spawns. The capital spawns are what you need to watch for. If you have the full fit, meaning the one I'm using, either with the Nano Tech 1, pardon me, the Tech 1 Ancillary Nano Pump, if you use manual piloting against Greasta Dreadnoughts, you are technically able to tank it with these. You do need to burn outside of 55 kilometers, so manually double click off into space the opposite direction from the rock haven. If you get a capital spawn, get outside of 55 kilometers from the dreadnought. Then once you're at it, you'll right click, orbit current distance, and make sure you're out of 55. 55 kilometers is the newt range on them. It will newt you dry. If you run out of cap, you're in trouble. Aside from that, you can orbit it at 55 kilometers. As you're doing that, if you do get a dreadnought spawn and you are capable and confident of manually piloting your ship, you can manually lock up the cruisers and battle cruisers like so. and then manually assign your drones to attack them first. The heavy drones will always prioritize the battleships first, before the cruisers in. If you're doing the Dreadnought, you can tank it, but you need to take out the cruisers first or it will be too much damage for your ship to tank long term. That way, even if you don't have the ability or the want to, like what you don't want to be bringing in a capital ship to kill off a Dreadnought with the Cloaky Campers, that could go sideways quickly. But you don't want to lose your Rock Haven in your rotation either, because if there's a Dreadnought there and you don't clear it off, that's one less Rock Haven that you're capable of running. Especially as it's being scaled or you have other court mates doing the same thing, you'll run out of havens very quickly. This way, if you attack all the other NPCs except the Dreadnought and you kill them all off, the site will despawn. After the site despawns and the signature no longer appears in your probe scanner listing, you can pull your drone's warp off, go to the next site, and along with the despawn, the Dreadnought will warp off and vanish. You don't get the 60 million or whatever it is for killing the Dreadnought, boo-hoo, but you get your site back, which is the important part here. Rock Havens as well as Sanctums. I do not recommend running Sanctums in a Vexor Navy issue. I recommend the Rock Havens highly. You can, if you have good skills, you will occasionally hemorrhage a drone running this. I would probably suggest having a stack of Wasp II somewhere at the side. You'll screw up some of the times. You're about to be tackled by hostiles warping in. You'll have to leave your heavy drones. A pile of reasonably priced Wasp 2s on the side is not a bad idea, nor is, if you have the ability in the ISK, having replacement Vexor Navy issue hulls, as the replacement on these, even at 20 million ISK per tick, you're looking at 60 million ISK an hour. With this thing running just over 120 million here, it's going to take you approximately 2 hours maximum of straight ticks just to be able to replace your hull, which still is not too bad. The mazes you can sell by going into the ratting channel. In this case for GOTG is the GOTG escalation channel, and link your contracts in there. They sell for about 130 to about 150 million as of the time of this video, which is a lot of ticks. So a lot of the ISK that you end up getting in here is in drops from the faction spawns, which are dread greased spawns, as well as the escalations, the 10-10 mazes that you can get from these. Between 3 tunes, I can easily get over a billion and a half a day. Again, your mileage will vary based on the amount of time that you play the game. In here, I find that using these ratting channels are, again, they were kind of a pain at first. They're really great for organizational purposes, especially if you're running multiple tunes. These are my alts in here, of where I can, if I have to warp off, if I get blown up, if I have to go AFK, something's at the door, I want to pull my drones in and warp off, I can go back to whatever havens and I can see what tunes were at what havens just by looking back at this channel. It also helps traffic control if you have other, again, court mates or other people that are ratting in the same system as you, especially the public systems. Aside from that, this is pretty much autopilot. As you can see, I've been sitting here talking. I'm not really doing anything. I mean, I will press Control A here to select all the local. I'm watching who's coming in and coming out of, looking for active PvPers. I can check intel. Again, you can check out near to if you're looking for heads up on intel with people that are near you that are reported. But essentially, you go and run this. I think it's about 25 minutes per site until you have to pull your drones and go to the next site. If you do run this, especially if you're not running any near to programs, I would highly suggest you having a tab with Rex on it. In this case, it's my utility tab, and look for any dread greased spawns or any dread greaser Rex in there. If you do have one of those, bookmark them. So you would go like this, bookmark. If this is a dread greaser Rex, right click, save location. I'll save it as the rec name, click submit. I'll go off and run my next haven, and I want to remember to come back to it. So after I'm done running the haven after this one, I would warp to 0 and loot the wreck. It's a lot easier than trying to bump off the rock geometry trying to loot the wreck, because the site will despawn. The wreck should be there for at least 1 hour real time. With this, I've gotten an exceptional amount of money. It's also extremely useful for raising ADMs. If the ADMs in your system are low, specifically the military ones, this is an excellent way to raise them while making yourself a passively ludicrous amount of ISK. As I said, it's really good money over time. Don't sit here and spend too much time dwelling on it if you're sitting here watching your wallet. Oh, here we go. We have a +1. Interesting. So in this case, because I like blowing stuff up, I'm going to see what this guy is doing. So first of all, I'm going to report this nerd in Intel.
Enemy in system.
No idea what he's in. So I'm just going to sit here and hammer on my D-scan. Well, I have my Wasp II out. Nothing on D-scan. Astero, core probes. This guy's more than likely either an Astero bot or possibly, where's he from? Zigun. Somebody trying to back probe some holes. In this case, with the employment history, I'm going to have to guess Astero bot. Either way, watch out for that. Again, I'm not too considerably worried about this. I do recognize that name, unfortunately, and it's been running around for a while. I've had no problems. That doesn't mean that they can't be a problem, but again, I only have about 150, 160 million ISK I'm risking at the moment. I can make that up if I run through a site, I get a 10-10 escalation, and I'm getting a 20 million ISK tick. It's going to take me at least 20 minutes to run the site. I can sell the maze. I'll sell them for 140 million ISK in the GOTG escalation channel. It'll take me 10 minutes to run over there in a MOVEit interceptor, a shuttle, bookmark the site, sell the bookmark. I get 140 million ISK from that, 20 million ISK for my tick. I have just replaced my VNi. And again, you would have to be pretty lucky, but if you get a 10-10, you could theoretically replace it in one haven. I have gotten other rare drops like high-grade crystal omega implants, which sell for well over 1 billion ISK a piece. Those can drop. They're not very common, and over time it pretty much averages itself out. Anyways, I'm not going to sit here and bore everybody with running this, but this is the amount of effort that you end up needing, and another reason why it's easily scalable. If you do have any questions, comments, or possibly even something that I missed or something you would like to know, please feel free to either mail Blitz Hacker in-game, or if you're in Slice or GOTG, feel free to drop down to the Mythically Intoxicated channel and give us a poke on the TeamSpeak. Anyways, I hope this tutorial video helps you out, and fly safe. Cheers.